Hey guys, so Lord here, back again with another review, and today we'll be taking a look at the Plunderlings Nomad Goyle, brought to us by the fine folks over at Lonely Coconut. That is right, your boy finally got his hands on one of these little guys, courtesy of my good buddy Evil Villain. I'll leave a link in the description below to his Instagram. Head on over there, give him a follow, let him know Overlord sent you. But as always, be nice. I will find you, and you will be destroyed. Business as usual. But yes, he sent me this quite some time ago, last year, around the same time as the Marvel Legends Walmart exclusive Lizard, which I reviewed back in November. So it gives you an idea of how long I've had this guy, but I really haven't had a whole lot of time to mess with him, just too much stuff going on. But I gotta tell ya, aside from the price point, which we'll get into in a minute, I think this is one of the greatest action figures I've messed with on my channel from a quality standpoint. This thing is rock solid, like one of the best. Feeling, I guess, it feels so good in your hands. That's what she said. But either way, you know what I mean. It's just that good. So I kind of get the hype behind these, but I will say that price is kind of keeping your boy from picking one up on his own. Although I am tempted to pick up the one with the skeleton mask. Comes with like a skull mask and like a bone he can hold in his hand. Yeah, that feeling good quote and that statement don't really mesh well together, do they? Let's just move on and take a look at the accessories. Starting off with his extra heads. He's got 3 head sculpts. And you get one with the closed mouth, one with this open, grinning mouth. I gotta tell you, when I took the photo of this guy for the URL, he looked downright evil and sadistic and sinister, and as if he was gonna kill me in my sleep. It must be those dead eyes. Look at that. Very, very cute, but creepy at the same time. I would say this one is probably the least terrifying. Closed mouth. But if you wanted to, he does come with some bling, which you can put on the ear here. I'm doing it off cam because this thing's really small. But he comes with a freaking earring, which I noticed a little baggie in the bottom of the box, which, spoiler alert, I no longer have. And I was like, what's that? And I'm like, you can give him piercings. That's hilarious. So that's fun, which is kind of the theme of this line. It's fun, it's creative, it's interesting, it's kind of different. You know, we've seen modular goblin-looking dudes on this channel before, Mythic Legions, but these are a little bit different style, clearly. He does come with an alternate set of grip hands, which have the appropriate hinge in there. So it's not that hard, everyone else. But McFarlane, who gives us his ball hinges, so you can do either or. That said, he does come with a cloak. Comes with his little cape here. His little hood. And to spare you guys the pain and agony of watching me struggle to put all this stuff on, we'll just throw it on for final thoughts. He also comes with 2 big chunky sword dagger thingies. Very nice silver paint on there. Holds those nice and tight. And last but not least, he comes with a frog. So why not come with a frog? I mean, really. That said, it's not one of those flippy toy frogs, so you can't push down on it or anything. You're supposed to push on the front. I guess it does flip. So it kind of comes with a flippy frog. Or I guess you can munch on it if you want to be cruel to animals. Gonna get peed on my butt now. Thanks a lot. Take a closer look at Nomad Goyle. We'll just call him Goyle. I'm guessing they called him that because he's gray like a gargoyle. I don't know. I didn't work on these. But apparently, Chris from 4 Horsemen, good old Chris, who's currently got a Kickstarter of his own going on right now, Biblical Adventures, you should support it. Because Chris is awesome, and I want some really gnarly-looking demon figures that aren't just Mythic Legions. So, I myself have yet to do it, but I most likely will. That said, but Chris from 4 Horsemen does, I believe he's the production manager on these, and then a couple of the individuals who are associated with the third-party Mythic Legions parts. They're over in Europe. My apologies, I forget their names, but they, I believe they sculpt these, do something like that, and help kind of design and make these what they're supposed to be. So that's pretty cool. The Mythic Legions crew's kind of branching out, doing their own things. Chris has always been doing other stuff. He does these. He does production management, I believe, on Boglins and the Naughty or Nice and Eagle Force stuff from... It's not Spy Monkey Fiction. Fresh Monkey Fiction. Spy Monkey Creations and Fresh Monkey Fiction are two totally different things. But either way, you gotta love the independent toy companies, man. They're doing their darndest to give us some really solid product. I have to say, this guy, again, one of the best action figures I think I've ever reviewed from a quality standpoint. So as far as articulation goes, he's got a little bit in the head. Not a crazy amount, but that's okay. He's got the disc hinge. But the heads are hollowed out, so you can get the max range out of that. I mean, you can look up all the way. You can look side to side. It's squeaky, but it's not pulling on anything. It does have some tilt. It's got that evil smile. Like frickin' Jigsaw or Chucky, for crying out loud. He's got hinge shoulders. Go up and down, and they rotate forward and back. I think you can pop these out, too. I would use a little bit of heat first, but I think these guys are sort of modular, so you do have that going for you. This feels like it's not in all the way, but I bet it is. Does have a hinge swivel elbow. Does have a hinge swivel wrist. Comes with open hands. I do wish they came with some fists, so you can have a bunch of little goblin thug dudes brawling, because they do kind of have Popeye arms. Which I think is fun. That said, he does have a diaphragm joint. Actually gets decent range. You can crunch back a little bit. Crunch forward, not a lot, but he does have a little plump belly there. It's kind of funny. Does tilt side to side. He does have kind of a twist. I don't think he has a waist. I don't feel a waist cut in here. If there is, it's stuck. Nah, there's nothing there. I wouldn't push it. I think he just has a diaphragm cut. That said, he does have this little belt here, which I guess you might be able to take off, but it almost feels like it's glued. So, probably, again, just leave that, because I'm pretty sure that doesn't come off. Maybe it does. I don't know. It almost looks like he has a waist cut, but I can't get it to work, so I'm going to just say he does not have a waist cut. And this belt is a solid piece on there. I can't tell. Nah, I don't think it twists here. If it does, I can't get it to work. But the belt is a separate piece, apparently, and you can slide it up. And there is a cut here, but I think that's for the belt. I don't think that's for a waist cut. So that's my first time noticing that. I assume that there is no cut there. He can kick forward, though. He can kick back. He can kick out to the side, back down. He's got a thigh cut. He's got a double knee, which on the other side is a lot tighter, but this is tight enough. This is fine. Does he have pins? He's got pins, but here's the thing. Pins aren't the worst thing in the world. He does have ankle hinge. With these bulky arse feet, you're not going to get a ton out of that, so that's a little limited, but they are nice and tight, so he's not going to have any problem standing. And he's got a rocker and some peg holes at the bottom of the feet. They don't come with stands, but they don't need them. Their feet are big enough, their knees are tight enough. It's all good in the neighborhood. But yes, these figures, if they're all like this guy, then this is something I wish I could get my grubby little hands on, because again, if it wasn't for the price point, I'd be going down a deep rabbit hole indeed. And before somebody gives me some stupid comment saying like, what do you mean, you buy a lot of stuff, listen, $40 is a lot of money to me. It might not be a lot of money to you, but if you haven't noticed, my channel isn't monetized like almost everyone else's, so I don't have extra money to throw at other lines that just came out a couple of years ago, you know? It is what it is. I'll support this line if I can. I wouldn't mind checking out one of the, what is it, Plunder Strongs and the Plunder Longs and maybe another Plunderling. I do want the one with the little, excuse me, skull mask that I mentioned previously, but I'm not sure what other ones I would get. I think there's a little barbarian looking guy, and I think there's a pirate even. So I wouldn't mind checking out more of these, but I gotta have the money to do it. And money don't grow on trees. Especially when, again, you're not monetized and sponsored and Patreon channel members, all that crap. So I do like this figure quite a bit. I'm thankful that Evil Villain was cool enough to hook it up. I'm not going to say why because it's a bit personal. It's funny, but it's a personal story. So if he wants the world to know, then he can pipe up in the comments. But for now, that'll be just between me and him. So with that being said, before this review drags out any longer than it already has, let's now move right along and take a look-see how this guy stacks up against our two regulars for size comparisons to keep things as short and sweet as possible. And as promised, here's our little, and I mean little, Plunderling Nomad Goyle alongside our two regulars, the Mythic Legion's Brother Mandibulus Limit Spawn, who is definitely towering over everyone today. I mean, there is no doubt about that, no question whatsoever. Good old Al Simmons towers over this little guy, which leads me back to that price point, because these guys are pretty small. You know, the Mythic Legion's goblins and dwarves, they're pretty small too. I don't think they were this small. That said, I'm sure these guys are obviously meant to be this small because they are goblins. They're little goblin dudes, so they're not supposed to be the same size as freaking Spawn, but they are quite small for the price point. That's really, if I had to pick any nitpicky sort of gripe, it would be that, but the quality is so good it almost zeroes that out. That, and does anyone else think these guys look like the goblins from Skylanders? Because I sure as heck do. I used to beat the crap out of a bunch of dudes who looked like these guys in those video games back in the day. Kind of feels weird saying that about a game that's, what, 10 years old? But I digress. So, with that being said, time to wrap things up. Some final thoughts. Overall, and at the end of the day, gotta be 110% honest with you guys in saying that your boy's conflicted. On one hand, this is one of the best action figures I've ever messed with on this channel from a quality standpoint. This thing is rock solid, comes with, I think, plenty of accessories. You guys know how I feel about that. I don't need a bunch of stuff to throw in a bag. But on the other hand, the price point does seem a little bit steep. But if that's not something you're too overly concerned with, then by all means pick these guys up. I think this is a fun line, it's a creative line, and it's just a solid line. Even though I've only messed with one of these guys, I know they have some different varieties out too. I gotta tell you, I am thoroughly impressed. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you're so inclined, please feel free to do all the YouTube rigmarole, as well as hit me up over on Instagram if you ever want to talk toys or anything in particular. That's the #1 best way to get a hold of yours truly. But as always, keep the comments civil, because the world sucks enough as it is, especially when I don't have the budget to get into these, but boy, if I did, that would be one steep rabbit hole. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later.